Oh, go ahead, Bob. Yeah, it's a little hard to see now that the yeah, go ahead. Yeah, actually, I can tell from where I am. It is a tree stump. It's a very large tree stump, but it is a tree stump that is kind of continuing to fester. A lot of times when you talk about wildland firefighting, and Robin was mentioning earlier, it is something that we cover pretty often. I previously, in some other employment, also covered pretty much exclusively wildfires for a very long time. And I could tell you things like this have a very long burn time because there's just a lot of fuels to burn. They take a little bit more to get going, but once they do, they burn for quite a bit more time. So firefighters talk about things like this in terms of burn time. Now, I do want to mention something, and I don't know if you can get a sense of it, but Dean is talking about it. The wind is actually picking up in this area. So that's why fire crews are kind of vigorously hitting these trees and these stumps back here because they continue to fester and burn. As that white smoke comes in, you can tell the fire crew is actually hitting that stump you were just talking about, Bob. But it is still festering, still burning, despite fire being, or excuse me, water being poured all over it. Yeah, tons of other departments. South Salt Lake are just two of those that I've seen, but I'm sure maybe West Jordan may have a presence here. Murray is there as well. Yes. So yeah, this is definitely a mutual aid call. Bob, you were mentioning earlier, asking earlier how many alarms this is. I'm not sure. Did you find that information out? Okay. Yeah. I do want to mention real quick, just before this smoke has actually turned quite a bit more black just in the last maybe 20 or 30 seconds. So maybe there is something a little bit further beyond. I'll try and get a better vantage point here, but something a little further beyond these fire trucks that has just caught fire again. So let me move a little bit and try to get you a better vantage point. Oh, guys. Yes. Yeah, so I'll zoom out a little bit. This you had asked earlier what was beyond that carport. It is an apartment complex or one of the buildings here. Again, I don't know if this is newly on fire, but it has just cropped up. You can see the very tall flames coming up beyond this hook and ladder right here. If I pan up a little bit, you can see this firefighter is actually climbing up to the top of this right now to try and quell these flames. But these flames very active as compared to just a few minutes ago. That I had mentioned right before you went away from me, the smoke looked more black. This is where that is coming from. Yeah, yeah, actually, they have been. Just after you went to Ben, they were able to get some more water on that. But again, this fire is very dynamic. You could see the plume of smoke pouring out of the top of whatever that structure is as fire crews. Yeah, I'm going to try and sidestep just a little bit. That you could see fire crews are working on this big hook and ladder, that apartment complex or that building that we were just showing you, now shrouded in smoke as the wind kind of disturbs it and pushes it every direction. It's kind of moved around. We've been talking with Dina. Obviously, this is something where that wind in this area, it's the normal afternoon wind that you see in this area, but is moving the smoke around and undoubtedly not helping the flames. No.
We're going to do a media release in about 10 minutes.
10 minutes. Out here? Okay. Hey guys, media briefing in 10. I don't have a good enough mic for it. You should set up for it. I was. Yes, I can. They have been putting water on those flames, but one thing I will say, and you could see it kind of right in the middle of your screen, it's hard to make out, but that smoke is actually billowing out from underneath the roof, not from just on top of it. But yeah, you could see they are putting water on that fire right there. This hook and ladder is controlled from down at the base down here. Fire crews trying to hit it with everything they've got at this point. Where is it? Okay. And you think it's in the phone? Okay. All right. He's saying a new fire just broke out right there.
Who has? I'm going to grab Mark.
I could see it right there.
Mark.
As soon as you come back to me, it looks like there's a new spot or at least a new part of this fire that's cropping up. Hey, everybody. Yeah, so I just had a gentleman come up to me, just somebody, watching on and pointed out here, as you can see. So this is the fire that we've been focusing on. There is a new section of it over here to the west of the park. So you could see, actually, he pointed my attention that this plume here that you're taking a look at right now was not here just moments ago. That is something, and I did see some fire crews rush over to that direction. We actually have a crew on scene that's going to check this out. But yeah, so this is a very dynamic situation. New smoke rising from this park that we have here as we still look on to the very black smoke of this apartment complex that we've been looking at right here that is damaged and smoke billowing from the roof. So right now I have the camera pointed south.
Okay.
We are just south of 4780 South, which is Murray Holiday Road.
Okay.
And that's where, so we're kind of on the north side of the apartment complex. And then to my right, which would be west, is where this new plume that you're taking a look at right now is now popping up.
Okay.
Spencer, when we just had checked in with Ben, we were seeing more crews coming in. A crew from West Jordan was just pulling up on scene. Are you seeing, I know you are at a different vantage point, but have you heard or seen of any more crews making their way to where you are?
None to where I am, but I can tell you back here where this apartment complex is, especially because of the structures in this area, it is jam-packed with fire crews. There is not a lot of space for anyone else to come through this area. Now, just a moment ago, I actually did see several members of the police department go running kind of down 1300 East. I don't know if they're going to potentially look at anybody, but at this point, that's kind of the latest that we've got here is a lot of people are on scene. So police crews in the area, at least going to check on some stuff. We do know, and I'm just kind of looking around as we're here. We do know that in just a few minutes, we will be briefed on exactly what's going to go on here. And so I believe in just a few minutes, right, we'll be briefed on the situation. Yes. Yes. So
Okay.
being told by Unified Police here on scene that we will be briefed here in just a few moments.
Okay.
Thank
All
you,
right.
Spencer.
Yes,
Stand
Spencer.
by for us.
Joining us on set is
Will do.
Fox 13 News investigative reporter Nick Carlisle. You've been covering a bunch of this stuff.
Yeah, covered a lot of fires like this over the years. This looks to me like, one part wildland fire, one part good old-fashioned urban fire. They are plugged into the hoses, so they've got pretty good water supply, it looks like, but they're fighting against natural fuels that are then spreading into apartment buildings, all other manner of structure. So this really is what the wildland managers talk about, urban wildland interface fire.
Yeah.
When you look at just the sheer flames and just how big it is, what does that tell you?
Again, a lot of fuels, and it's not just wildland fuels. It's, obviously it's spread to some structures, and some cars have burned. Is
Yes,
that correct?
that's
Okay.
right.
And so that's kind of the black smoke you're seeing in a lot of places too. That's why I say, that at this point you can't classify it as one or the other. It's both right now.
One of the things that we haven't discussed here so far is utilities. I mean, we have been seeing the power lines, which I would imagine that the power company has already cut power to this area. We've also got natural gas lines that they've got to be concerned about, as well as water lines that will be affected in some way.
I think that's generally true, but my experience is that the first priority is lives and property, houses. So they're probably trying to protect the structures first. And Bob, excellent point about the utilities, but that's probably a second priority at this point.
You can see that we're getting ready for a press briefing here. We've got Unified Fire Authority, it looks like, getting ready to brief reporters. Fox 13 News reporter Spencer Joseph is there. And let's listen in if they are ready.
Let me get you. Everyone, I don't believe we are quite ready, but we will be here in just a few moments. I think there's a few more things that we're going to figure out here on scene.
Okay. In the meantime, they continue to fight the flames in what looks like one of those apartment building problems.
Yes, Spencer mentioned earlier that there's lots of people coming by, probably people who live in those apartment buildings, trying to figure out at the end of the day what's going to happen. Will they be without a home? A very tough situation for many people to be in, and we just don't know exactly how bad it is. I mean, obviously it looks terrible, but the aftermath still to be determined. Let's listen in to the presser.
Okay, roughly at about 1:40 p.m. today, units were dispatched and responded to a field fire. They had strong winds that were pushing the fire into north into apartment complexes. They initiated an aggressive fire attack on this field fire. However, their efforts did not stop that spread of fire up into those apartment complexes. At this time, 2 apartment complexes have been directly impacted, with a minimum of 24 units that have those folks have been evacuated, but those units have burned. Currently, right now, we're confirming that all of those occupants have been evacuated from the structure at this time. They're continuing to fight fire, not only on the field fire side, but on the apartment fire side. And at this time, it is still an evolving incident.
It looks to be a spot fire. I mean, what have the conditions been like? You've been seeing these pop up?
Just with this one right here, probably the biggest issue that we've got right now are the winds. The winds are obviously hindering our efforts to contain this fire, but we have additional crews that are headed to the west of here and addressing that spot fire as we speak. It's huge. I don't know, over the course of my career I've seen one to this scale that has impacted and displaced this many folks. We do not at this time have a total number of people that have been displaced. But I can tell you right now that Red Cross has set up an evacuation staging area at the LDS Church at, what do we have? 1250 East and 4500 South. It is not going to be for any type of shelter currently. It is just for evacuation to address the current needs of those displaced citizens. But currently, right now, Red Cross is on scene and addressing those issues. Both buildings, 12 per building currently right now. Now, adjacent structures, I can't tell you how many of those have been impacted. They have evacuated those units in all directions surrounding this incident right now. I can't speak specifically to the fire that is breaking out to the west of this one right now. As soon as I get more information on that, I'll be more than happy to share that. Obviously, life safety, and then we're going to go through incident stabilization. So we're going to do our best to isolate and keep it contained to the units that have already been affected, to mitigate any additional spread, weather permitting, and then we will continue to ultimately extinguish this fire and move forward with any salvage and overhaul to ensure that it's completely extinguished. Nothing reported right now. Oh, it's absolutely amazing. So our mutual aid agreements extend from border to border. Right now, we have assistance from virtually every agency here in Salt Lake County. In regards to number of apparatus, I couldn't currently tell you how many are here, but to say that we have over 100 firefighters would be a very conservative number. I'm certain that it's much higher than that. Just size and scope. It started off as one incident, which was a field fire that started another completely different incident. So I personally have never seen one where we had 2 different commands, 2 different staging, in rehabs in 2 different locations. So obviously the heat, the time of the year is causing some unique challenges for the firefighters that are actively fighting this fire. But in short order, we'll have this contained.
How many other buildings are threatened?
Couldn't even tell you. No idea. The fire displaced people. There was. Oh, we have no idea in regards to any type of injuries, right? Yep. Great question. If I were to take a stab in the dark, I would say tires on cars that are on fire.
Is there any comes to this, obviously along line vehicles on fire, the hazardous material that comes off of those how are fire crews making people feel safe and not breathing in potentially harmful fumes coming off of those cars?
So every one of the firefighters that are in that danger area, they are wearing their fire gear, their personal protective equipment. They have air packs on. They're making certain that obviously they're safe and protected as they're fighting that fire. That obviously compounds some of those unique challenges in fighting this fire and the exhaustion of those units. And so that ties in with how many units we currently have from surrounding agencies and the number of departments that are assisting in this fire attack is just that continual revolving of fresh firefighters to throw at this problem.
Yeah.
You can speak about the mindset of going into a fire like this, obviously, trying to save people, belongings, places where people live.
Mhm.
I've seen so many fire crews rush in there, do their best. When you talk about that mindset of how these crews are trying their very best to do everything.
So collectively across the board, fire crews are going to risk a lot to save a lot. And so until we can confirm that units have been evacuated, we're going to assume that they're occupied. So there's a very concentrated effort at making certain with our law enforcement partners that evacuation is being handled in a swift and effective manner. So that being said, I feel fairly certain that they've done everything in their power. We just need to confirm that all of those residents are accounted for before we give you a tally of those folks that are safely out of the structure.
To clarify, I think earlier you said the 24 units that have burned, those we do know were evacuated, correct?
We can't completely confirm that all 24 have been evacuated.
But no obvious injuries that we know of at this point.
Correct. Yep.
Any word on-
I'm sorry, what?
Any word on cause?
A gentleman mowing his lawn. Correct. I couldn't tell you how it was, but that has been confirmed that it started with the lawnmower in the field. All right.
At Captain Team, Mayor Jeff Silvestrini at Mill Creek's out of town. The council member Tom DeSirent, whose council district we're in, has a few words to say. Councilman Tom DeSirent, hold on, we're gonna swap mics.
Yeah, Corey, you could just like
the air.
really close to
Yeah.
you can probably pick it up.
Okay. Sure. Spell your name for him first.
Yeah. First name Thon, last name capital D, lowercase e, capital S, lowercase IRANT. The city of Mill Creek is obviously very, very upset about this. It's a tragedy. Really grateful for our partners in Unified Fire, and Unified Police, and in the Red Cross for their quick response and their willingness to help people. We do have multiple of our top department heads here just to make sure that we're able to give these residents as much support as they can. As soon as we were aware of the situation, our Promise Program Director jumped in and started coordinating with partners to make sure that residents would have a place to stay. We're still working on that. We want to make sure that every Mill Creek resident is safe and has a safe space to stay overnight. So this is an awful tragedy, but we're really grateful for our partners who have been fantastic. And if you need anything, please don't hesitate to contact the city of Mill Creek.
The lawnmower, do you know which, was that here on the apartment property? Was that an adjacent place?
Sounds like it was in the field south of the apartments.
What is that field? Is it just an empty lot?
No idea.
Okay.
It would appear to be just a vacant field. So, no idea. All right, you guys, we'll push you back out onto Twitter when we have more information to share. But I don't imagine you guys are going anywhere.
All right, briefed by the Unified Fire Authority there on the blaze and everything about it. The surprising thing was the origin of this fire.
That's right. The headline here, it came from someone mowing their lawn.
Mowing that field, and apparently a spark from that lit the grass on fire, and then from there it just took off. And two apartment complexes, a total of 24 units that have burned apparently, and 12 units in each one of those buildings. And the firefighters every department from all over the Salt Lake Valley is working this fire, and more than 100 firefighters.
He said the number 100 would be conservative. So there's several people working to put them out. And he did say that the winds right now are their biggest problem. He did say that.
In fact, Dina, if you're still there, and we can bring Dina's mic up, what is the prognosis for the winds going into it? We're at 10 minutes before 4. Are we going to see these winds diminish at all?
Pretty unlikely. We'll probably see winds just continue at this 15 to 20 miles per hour here in the next little bit. I did want to show you the satellite image as well, because you can see it's the Willow, I believe it was the Willowbrook Cove. Those were the apartments that we were talking about. And you can just see the fields that are around it, the parks, and where some of this damage might be in that Mill Creek area. And Big Cottonwood Creek runs through there, so there's a lot of vegetation and a lot of trees. But we are expecting more winds as we go forward in the next couple of hours here to just be still 15 to 20 miles per hour. But I don't know if we can pull up the UDOT cam again, Bob, but the UDOT 1 cam showing much improvement in the last about 10 minutes here. And you can remember when we looked at this camera, and now that we're seeing it, that's much better.
Much better.
So it was full of black billowy smoke, and now that it looks like maybe they've got a better handle on it. But there's still, they said 24 apartment units nearby that were evacuated, and what a shame. And I wonder what we'll hear more from those people that have been affected tonight.
That's true. And I do want to mention that he did say that they have not confirmed that all 24 units were evacuated, but we do know that those 24 units were certainly affected.
Yeah, and important to note here at this point, the Unified Fire did not say anything about injuries at this point, because this is still such a dynamic scene, and we just don't know at this point. You're looking at pre-recorded video here of the fire when it was at its apex. Right now, we do know that the apartments, the 2 apartment complexes with the 24 units, they've been able to get water on that apartment fire, or on that part of the fire. But we also know that this fire has spread to the west. There is an area to the west that has caught fire now.
That's right. Ben Winslow is over in that area. He has more insight into the cause of the fire, which we know came from a lawnmower. Ben, what else have you learned?
Well, first of all, I want to at least show you what's behind my shoulder here. You can see that there is a structure that is burning right now. We got more of a vantage point of that. I did speak with a contact of mine at the Salt Lake City Department of Public Utilities, and they confirmed that this fire, at least some of the fire, impacted their land. They have a lot here, and they did confirm to me that that they have had cars and carport near their building that has burned. Their building that is here has not burned itself, however, and they are aware of all of those apartments that are threatened. It is unclear from the Salt Lake City Public Utilities whether or not they have actually burned, but obviously what we are seeing right here is a structure that has very much burned, that you can see on your screen there. We're still working to find out more. We've been talking with people in this area who, one woman I spoke with described seeing multiple little starts of fires in the field here near these some of these apartments, and obviously that's a big concern. And what we can see here is firefighters who are working to put out hot spots in the brush here, just here on 1300 East where I am. They're just working to make sure that these hot spots don't keep going. But again, what I'm seeing right now is a structure that is very much on fire. They are working right now to put it out. And again, Salt Lake City Public Utilities confirming to us that they've lost some property in this, because this is at least part of this fire is on property that is owned by the Salt Lake City Department of Public Utilities. Again, just looking around here, and we've brought in, I can see firefighters from Riverton, from West Valley City, from South Jordan. They have brought people in all over just to basically try to get a handle on this. But what we're seeing right now is again, it looks to be a structure that is actively burning right now that they're trying to get a handle on, and a lot of little brush fires on this end. Back to you.
So much. Mark Blaine is also on scene. No, Mark.
We don't have Mark right
Mark?
now. We don't have Mark right now. We appreciate that, Ben, because when we had just listened in to Unified Fire telling us and giving us the recap, they really didn't have a lot of info on what was going on to the west at all.
Right,
He said,
right.
we don't have info on that right now.
Right.
So that certainly gives us some perspective. Also thought it was interesting. He said that he had not seen anything like this over the course of his career.
Well, without question, this is one of the biggest fires to have taken place in the Salt Lake Valley in a very, very long time. And to have mutual aid and every fire department in the Salt Lake Valley involved in fighting this fire tells you about the magnitude and the danger of this fire. Of course, as we've been telling you, this is in a very populated area with lots of vegetation, and with the relative humidity, as Dina was telling us, at 10%,
very low,
very low right now, and the winds and and a lawnmower in a field that sparked this thing.
Perfect storm of conditions.
Yeah, it is a perfect storm.
You know, and it's not surprising to see. We've had some of these urban fires, if you recall, in the last 2 years, Bob, here in Salt Lake City. We had the large fire structure of 2 apartment complexes that were under construction in the Sugar House area and over by the Brickyard area. Those were 2 of the last very large urban fires we had, but those complexes were empty, although businesses were affected that were nearby. These apartment complexes are full. I mean, these are full of people that live there. And like we had heard from the fire department, we have not seen a lot of these urban multi-structure fires where something, and this one looks like it started in a field and may have moved, and it's like a tinderbox out there. We have had less than 0.2 of an inch of rain in the last month, and it's so dry, and that the spark, and if it was the lawnmower, or you could think of somebody tossing out a cigarette or fireworks, you know, any of those things could just cause a blaze. The fire danger, even in the city where we have this false sense of security, where we feel like it's so safe, that couldn't happen to me. This could really happen to anybody. And people should be aware and have their documents ready, and it's so many people living close together that it's just, normally a lot of times we talk about Big Cottonwood Creek floods. And that's a lot of times what we see by the Murray City Park. We see flooding in this area, and we don't really talk about fires here. So I'll toss that back over to you, just some commentary on the past fires we've seen in the area.
Thank you so much, Dina. Let's we've got Mark Blaine now. And Mark, who are you with, and where are you exactly?
Bob, we're in a lot of the LDS church that is evacuation area for this fire, and you can see the fire behind us here, so you can see our vantage point. Right now, obviously, a lot of smoke. As we learned just a short time ago in the press briefing, 24 units were lost at this time. No known injuries, so that is good news. Joining me now is Haley Bryant, a resident of the apartment complex involved in this fire. Haley, as I just mentioned, authorities are telling us that 24 units were lost in this fire. Do you know the status of your apartment unit?
As far as I'm concerned, it's pretty safe. I mean, it doesn't look like it's caught. They're just trying to contain the backfire over there, but like one shift of wind and it could completely change. They've gotten it out like a couple of times, but the wind just picks it right back up. So it's we're just kind of all praying at this point. So
take us through your day when you realized that the complex was on fire.
I was just sitting on my bed. I was actually on the phone with my best friend, and I saw this big like cloud of orange stuff like overcloud my window, and my mom actually had the sliding glass door open, and she said she smelled smoke, and I was like, that's never a good sign. So I walked out into my living room and I smelled the smoke myself, and I put on my shoes. I ran outside, and that's when my manager and her kids were running and trying to get everybody out of their apartments. But so there's 2 buildings back there, and those are they're completely gone.
So you were at home with your mom, is that correct?
Yeah.
So obviously you both got out of there in a hurry.
Yeah, as quick as you could. I mean, you always wonder what you're going to do in these types of situations, but when it actually happens, your brain just kind of like fogs on you.
Had you and your mom talked about a possible evacuation plan in case of an emergency?
No, we just, because like we always knew, like living around the brush and like with the fireworks and anything could have happened. But like you said, this started by a lawnmower. We always knew it was a risk, but you don't really think about that stuff until it's happening to you on the spot. So.
I mean, you're probably running on a lot of adrenaline right now. Has it sunk in what happened today?
It's kind of all hitting me, like seeing my neighbors distraught. It really hurts me because we are a really tight-knit community, and like all of us were just running back into the back apartments trying to get who we could out. We got some animals out. We just, it's heartbreaking. It's a tragedy for us all, and we never could have expected it.
Of course, the good news, at least at this point, no known injuries.
No known injuries as we know so far, and that is always amazing news, and we are extremely grateful. All we can really hope for is a miracle at this point.
What do you know at this point what your next step is?
Not right now. I'm just trying to kind of like see if they're like they contained it as best as they could. I'm just kind of waiting it out. I think as much as everybody else is doing here, our main goal is just to get home tonight.
Well, Haley, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us. We certainly do appreciate it, and we wish you the best.
Thank you so much.
Okay, well, that's going to do it from here for now. Let's send it back to the studio again. 24 units lost in this fire, and once again, no known injuries.
All right, Mark Lane reporting for us there from the parking lot of a nearby LDS church.
Also want to add that we now know that there are at least 49 people without power because of the fire. And a question we had earlier was, have they cut utilities in that area?
Yeah.
Obviously, that would be a concern.
Yeah. And standard operating procedure is for the electric company, Rocky Mountain Power, to come out and shut off the power to the lines that are adjacent to this fire and close to it. And so that much we know is true. What, 49 customers?
At least 49,
At
yes.
least 49. And so natural gas is also a concern, especially where we have that as a major utility for the units in that apartment complex. So Enbridge Gas will come out and shut the gas lines off as well. So it is a major undertaking to respond to a fire like this, and the human cost involved in this just advances second by second.
Absolutely. I mean, speaking of human cost, we just heard Haley talking to Mark Blaine there, and she kind of gave the perspective of how fast this really happened. You know, 1 minute she's sitting on her bed talking to her friend. The next minute she and her neighbors are helping people escape, helping animals escape. So it just gives us a clue into how fast this really all can happen. For those of you just joining us, just to give you a recap, this all started around 1:40 this afternoon, and it was caused by a lawnmower in a field. We had a witness we talked to earlier on who said that they believe that was the start of the fire in that field, and it seems like they would have been correct. That would have been our executive producer's father, actually. 2 complexes
that's
affected.
right. Yeah, and in fact, we've got the sound queued up, I believe, of the Unified Fire Authority person telling us the cause of this fire. Can we roll that right now?
A gentleman mowing his lawn. Correct. I couldn't tell you how it was, but that has been confirmed that it started with the lawnmower.
So there you go.
There you go.
Something as innocuous as mowing your lawn
That's
in
what
the
did
middle
it.
of the city on a
Right.
day like today.
Dry, windy, with lots of vegetation. It is just the recipe for disaster. And we're seeing viewer video from Ireland Lowe. Thank you for sending this, Ireland. From, obviously this was from a distance away, but man, that's what it looked like earlier. Big billowy black smoke. I mean, oh my goodness, just look at those flames right now. They have been watering that for hours now at this point, and it is just not quitting. It is not giving up.
2 apartment complexes affected, 24 units in all, and authorities are still working on trying to confirm that everybody made it out of those apartment complexes. We don't know if that is the case, but as it stands right now, there are no reports, gratefully, of any injuries or anyone hurt from this. But again,
Whoa!
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the first explosion we heard earlier.
Yeah. And coming as the firefighters were pouring water on a truck fire in the carport behind that fence that we're looking at. These are from Spencer Joseph's camera.
That's right. And I think we're going to check in with Spencer. Spencer, it's been a little bit since we've checked in with you. What's new?
Yeah, at this point, we've just heard several of those individuals. You heard from Mark Blaine as well, talking with those individuals. We want to pan off and show, the smoke is still very heavy, lingering in the air as that hook and ladder is still trying to hit those apartment complexes. Now we know those 24 units, as confirmed by Unified Fire. They're trying to hit it with everything that they've got. I did hear a witness on scene say that they believe that their friend may have lost some animals in their apartment. Again, that's not confirmed, but they were talking with a friend of theirs whose apartment is one of those who's in this home, and they believe they may have lost some animals inside their apartment. But yeah, they're still looking at this field, still smoldering. We were talking a while ago, if you were just joining us, we'll kind of mention it again, but about those fuel burn times. The bigger the tree, the longer it takes to put out, the hotter it burns once it catches on fire, and that can definitely complicate things. You saw just a moment ago when I jumped back, I was behind the camera at that point, but you heard that big pop from the vehicle. Unified Fire saying they probably think that was one of the tires going off. But yeah, big flames, and it kind of made us all jump back on scene, as we're only about maybe 50 feet away from where that vehicle is. But that area seems to be put out in terms of the cars, but the heavy attack from fire crews is on those big apartment complexes, those big structures. As I've just been communicating with these firefighters on scene, Bob, Robin, they keep telling me this is unlike anything they've seen before. A field fire spreading into an apartment complexes, and really, I mean, let's not parse words here, destroying people's properties, destroying people's lives. This is where they live. This is where they come home to. This is their place of comfort, of sanctuary, now destroyed because of a field fire that then, really grew completely out of control, starting from that lawnmower.
Absolutely.
We've been talking about the lives affected. The Red Cross has set up an evacuee center at the LDS Church at 1250 East, 4500 South. 1250 East, 4500 South, for folks in this neighborhood who have been directly affected. We know that the effort to get those 2 apartment complexes evacuated was key to all of this, but there are surrounding homes in this area that have been affected as well, and the people who live in those homes. So if you happen to be one of them, or perhaps you know those who live in that area, the LDS Church at 1250 East, 4500 South is where the Red Cross is set up to take care of the evacuees.
That's right. We're hoping that it doesn't spread to any more homes than it already has. Yeah. They did say that they were going to do their best to isolate it and keep it contained, but man, it has obviously been very hard to contain. He said while he was briefing all the reporters there, he has not seen something like this over the course of his career. So this is a different type of fire, one that does not want to cooperate, obviously.
Fox 13 News reporter Ben Winslow is over by the St. Vincent de Paul Catholic Church. And Ben, from where you are standing, can you see any more flames? Have the firefighters been able to knock down that fire behind you?
Well, we haven't really seen a lot of flames, but Sterling, I'm going to ask if you can just kind of zoom in to the building that is currently still burning. What we see is, certainly the smoke situation has changed. It has lessened and it has lightened. That is good news. That means the firefighters are absolutely making progress on this, and you can see firefighters still out in that area. However, what it does appear, based upon just what we can see from our vantage point here, is that structures have been lost, that there is significant damage. Now, I do want to just kind of pan around and kind of show you the situation and what we're observing here. This area where all these trees and this brush is right behind me here, from what we understand, this is owned by Salt Lake City Public Utilities. Now, what I do not know at this point is if the fire started on this land, but Salt Lake City Public Utilities tells me that it did lose some vehicles. A carport was lost in it. As far as they know, the building that they maintain on this property was not damaged. That's what we know at this point. They're still trying to find out more. But obviously the concern is the surrounding apartments that we have seen. And again, actually we can see a little bit more firefighters are putting a little bit more now into that building that they're trying to save, or at least trying to save the structure. So certainly it's not looking good, but what we've observed is the smoke is lessening. The wind is picking up though, so I imagine that is a concern. And of course, as you pointed out, the Unified Fire Authority had indicated that this was started by someone who was using some form of a lawnmower. What we don't know is if it was an industrial lawnmower, say trying to get some of the dry grasses that are around this time of year knocked down and under control so that it doesn't start a fire. We just don't know at this point, or if it was someone using it in a residential capacity. But again, what I've been observing here is, and the building, you can see the smoke is kicked up so much that it is gone. I talked to one woman who told me that she also observed after the initial fire a lot of smaller brush fires in this same area, and that's what we've been observing. In fact, Sterling, if I can ask you to pan to your left, you can see some smoke kicking up in some of these areas where the field is. Again, what we've been told is that this is, again, owned by Salt Lake City Public Utilities, this kind of field area here. Salt Lake City Public Utilities, of course, is one of those that supplies water to a large part of the Salt Lake Valley. So we're still waiting more information, but certainly a lot of people here that we've also been talking to very concerned about these apartments. Some of the people who I've been speaking with don't live in these apartments, but they live nearby, and obviously they're very concerned about the people who may be there. And at this point, of course, we have no word if anyone has been injured, but again, what I am observing is structures actively being lost. Back to you.
Ben, from where you are standing, and it looks like you have a fairly good vantage point there, can you estimate for us, at least from where you're standing, how big, how many acres are we talking about that has been affected by this fire? Is there any way to tell that from where you're standing?
No, there really isn't, because there is a gully. What we see is that the land slopes down. This may be where Big Cottonwood Creek comes through here, but I can't tell from my vantage point. But what I can see is it does slope. There is a lot of vegetation in this area. But as far as the actual size of this, I don't know. And I think with things still actively burning, it'll be some time before we have a real sense of exactly how big this is and how close it's gotten to buildings and to residential units, apartments, things, homes, businesses. It'll we need a little time before we know fully the scale and scope of this.
Yeah.
Ben, thank you so much. We'll check back in with you. We do have North Tooele with us because we've been talking about the cause of this fire, which was started by a lawnmower, which might sound different. You don't hear that every day, but apparently this is something that's happened, and they are going to talk to us about other fires that have been started by lawnmowers. So, John Smith, can you hear us right now? Okay, we're working to get John, I suppose, but again,
is that our Zoom interview?
That is our Zoom interview. Okay. That is our Zoom interview. We are working to get it. We've been talking about. There he is.
There's John Smith.
There he is. John, can you hear us?
Apparently he can't.
It would appear that he cannot.
All right.
All right.
Let's go back to Fox 13 News reporter Spencer Joseph. Spencer, we were talking, and you had been talking about the second fire that had started to the west of you. What is that been tackled? Have they been able to get to that?
Yeah, fire crews actually have gotten an attack on that one. We could show it to you right now. It's just kind of a little white plume of smoke. We do know that fire crews have been able to get a handle on that.
Okay.
I am here with Taylor. Taylor, you were the very first one to call in this fire, it sounds like. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so what happened was I was doing my normal day work at home, right? We do 2 days in office and the rest of the day at home, doing a conference call. Poor client doesn't know what happened, but anywho, I saw like orange, like some orange like light, and then also like smoke. I'm like, oh, overcast. Then I don't know, but just I looked over and I saw the fire coming so quick from the field that is behind the building. And I immediately said, I'm sorry, I have to go. I closed my call and I said, honey, we need to go. We need to go now. And I got them out and I'm like, crap, we need to get the cars. We need to get somewhere to go. I went back in to grab my keys because it had not gotten close to our building yet. But it was super quick that I got my keys enough that it was on our property line. And me and my neighbor, we sort of bumped into each other like, go, go, go. And we sort of had to sort of run away from that. As far as I know, we know from our management, our landlord, that the 2 back buildings are gone. And my home, everything's gone. Yeah, we got our dogs and our kids, the most important things right now. So that's what happened. And it's sort of still like I'm running on a lot of adrenaline.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah. Adrenaline and, and I'm just so glad we're safe. I'm so glad my neighbors are safe. I'm so glad that we have a community that is, very thoughtful. I've already had phone calls, texts, Venmo's already starting to pour in, and
it's okay to be emotional.
yeah.
I understand. This is terrible. This is everyone's worst nightmare. A lot of people talk about having a plan. It sounds like you knew what to grab, who to alert very quickly. Had you thought about this before and had a plan ready to go?
Yeah. One thing that we moved into this complex around when COVID happened, and that's when our earthquake happened here in Utah, right? And I was like, I really didn't have a plan there. So that sort of scared me. So I immediately had a plan. Now, the plan was grab our emergency bags and stuff, So we had, essentials, but the fire was so quick, I couldn't grab the emergency bags. So after that, plan B is everyone gets out. Everyone stays alive. And so I got my 2 dogs. They're like, where are we going? We're going for a walk. I'm like, no, we're getting out of here. Kids are safe too. I mean, they're probably a little shaken up. I'm like, stuff's replaceable. They aren't. And I'm very, very glad that they were here. We were supposed to be somewhere today, and we're glad we canceled those plans.
Wow.
Because if we didn't cancel the plans, we would have lost a lot more. Like, we would have lost our dogs. We would have lost a lot more people. Because as soon as I saw the fire, I immediately ran out, and I said, everybody needs to get out. There's a fire. I'm so glad that Scott was home, our elderly neighbor. I got him out. We moved, and the thing that we saw was that I knew that our building was gone is that I saw our deck engulfed in flames. And I'm like, oh, well, there it goes, I mean, not oh, well, but it's just at that moment, I'm like, I don't know what I feel. It's just sort of like still sinking in. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Taylor, thank you so much.
Thank you.
In fact, let me give you a hug.
Oh, thank you.
It's a difficult time for you. I know that a lot. Things are replaceable, though, and you are not. And so we're so glad that you're okay, and you and your kids and your family and your dogs are okay. Thank you, everybody. We're to stay out here, continue to monitor this situation. But for now, back to you.
Spencer Taylor, we are certainly thinking about you. So surreal.
Oh, yeah.
Says he saw the deck engulfed in flames.
Thank you, Spencer. Yeah.
We are going to go back to John Smith with North Tooele Fire now to talk about the cause of this fire. It came from a lawnmower, and apparently that they're more common than not. This is not necessarily like a fluke. John, can you hear us?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, I can. Thank you for having me on today.
Thank you so much for being with us.
Yeah, absolutely. This is actually a very common fire start here in the state of Utah, especially around this time of year when we have the really dry temperatures and the really dry grass. So what happens is there's a couple of factors to keep in mind when you're talking about lawnmowers and yard tools in general. One is that many of them are operated by gasoline. And so if you fill the gas, sometimes it spills over, and then something could ignite the gasoline on the lawnmower itself. And then if you have an electric mower, those lithium batteries can spark a fire as well. But the most common factors we have when lawnmower fires occur is either you're striking a rock and that starts a spark, and if you're near dry grass or weeds, that can start a fire that can start racing on you really fast. And the other thing is when you've got that hot metal and those combustion engines, certain components in there get hot, you've got spark plugs in there, and when you get those too close to dry grass, you get that fire triangle, that mix of fuel, heat, and oxygen, and that can create things like we see today going on in Salt Lake County.
So, John, what do you do if you are out there mowing your back 40 or whatever you're mowing, even your lawn, and you hit something that creates a spark? What do you do?
Yeah, I mean, it all comes down to preparedness and awareness, right? Every fire can be put out with a single cup of water if you get to it fast enough. So if you find yourself in a position where you are in a large area and you're cutting down weeds, which we like people to do because that prevents fire danger. But if that should spark, you want to make sure you have a hose close by. You want to have buckets of water close by. You just want to be aware of the potential for fire danger should this occur. Luckily, in many cases, the fires are in smaller areas, smaller yards, and they burn towards the fence line, and we're able to get those out. But you can see today, it can turn into a handful really, really fast. And that is one of those things that we tell people to keep in mind this time of year, along with when you're driving your car near the side of the road, make sure you're not parking in high grass. Make sure you're not using grinders or welders. When you're outside doing construction, make sure you're not doing that near dry grass or high weeds. And dragging chains behind cars can start fires, just like the one we're seeing in Mill Creek today.
Yeah, it is so ironic that the very things that, keeping the grass low and trying to reduce the fuels, the very action of doing that can cause the problem itself.
Absolutely. And, fire is man's oldest enemy, but we've learned to coexist. And it's just one of those things where, even something as simple as mowing your lawn can turn into something serious very quickly. So we want to make sure that everybody keeps those things in mind, especially this time of year, that the restrictions that are put in place by the fire warden when it comes to fireworks and campfires, those are put in place for a reason, and those are the obvious dangers, but there's also some hidden dangers out there that we like people to be aware of as well.
All right.
John, thank you so much for being here with us today. Great information. Definitely gives us some extra context and perspective for this horrible situation.
Thanks, you guys.
As we've been saying, the wind played a dramatic role in the quickness of the spread of this fire. Let's go back over to Fox 13 meteorologist Dina Friedman. And Dina, give us some hope that the winds are not going to kick up tonight.
Yeah, the winds should keep going until the sun gets a little bit lower. So until about 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock, and then things should start to settle down after that. But the area that we've been watching and telling you about, just to give you another overview, it's this general region here in the Mill Creek. It's right on the border of Mill Creek Holiday, this Willowbrook Cove Apartments, and some of this neighborhood area. You can see the Big Cottonwood Regional Park is over here with a lot of vegetation. And then we have a lot of really mature trees throughout the neighborhood, and Big Cottonwood Creek just to the south. So just the perfect recipe for fire, with low humidity out there, hardly any rain. We could see a lot of the smoke earlier. It was much worse just an hour and a half ago, and it looks like they've really got things kind of under control now. But unfortunately, as we've been hearing about some structures, and it sounded like from the interview that Spencer did, that a family had lost their home but was able unable to get out. So very sad situation. The wind gusts right now are between about 15 and 20 miles per hour here in Salt Lake City. So that will continue. And there's that wind gust. That's actually at the airport, that reading here, even though it's just on the data point a little bit south of there. So the winds at the airport a little bit higher, but definitely have seen those wind gusts of that 15 to 20 miles per hour is about the right number throughout the afternoon. And it'll stay that way until the sun gets a little bit lower and things start to cool off a little bit. So the wind gust forecast going forward here as we go into the next 2 hours, it settles down and then it ramps up again tomorrow afternoon as it does, and the sun heats up the earth. The air starts circulating around, that warm air rises up and creates those currents, localized currents of winds that we saw. And as our crew was out there noticing, it was just this erratic, gusty wind throughout the afternoon. And that's what we'll have here for the next couple of hours. We've got a red flag warning, though, for much of the state, and that is for tomorrow. So places that aren't in the red flag warning, like here in Salt Lake County and Utah County, it's still really dry and pretty dangerous for any activity out there concerning fire. Fire danger is still really high with a really low humidity, and we've got the wind gusts of 20 to 30 miles per hour. So temperatures currently right now around 94 degrees here in Salt Lake and 91 in Provo. It's 98 in St. George. And not only are we dealing with the fire conditions here in Salt Lake City, we also have the smoke forecast because we've got some fires active down to the south here and over northern Arizona. So tomorrow in our forecast, we'll also be contending with high fire danger and hazy, smoky conditions and no precipitation in the forecast. What a shame. You can't really see it on that visible picture, but there was a lot of haze and smoke in the sky today. And of course, more of that from the fire that we just got there in the Mill Creek area. So very warm, very dry and breezy across the state, going to continue that way for the next few hours here as the temperatures stay in the 90s, but the winds should start again to settle at about 7 or 8 o'clock. And so the breeze will start to settle down a little bit. So overnight, it's going to be pretty warm out there, around 70 here in Salt Lake. Same with St. George, and hazy conditions, especially across southern Utah. And tomorrow, mostly sunny, breezy, and hazy, warm again. 95, so very similar to today. Our high temperature was around 93 degrees or so. Very warm, southern Utah, around 100. And we do have a chance for some monsoonal moisture on Wednesday and Thursday, but nothing here for the weekend. Just breezy, smoky, hazy. Temperatures stay in the 90s all weekend long. And there's our chance for thunderstorms moving in next Wednesday and Thursday. But unfortunately, it is going to be breezy here for the next couple of hours. Robin, Bob.
Right.
Dina, thank you so much.
If you are just joining us, Fox 13 News at 4 has been preempted by our live coverage of this major fire in Mill Creek that has consumed 2 apartment complexes and 24 units in total. It has been a really difficult afternoon.
Absolutely. It's been an evolving situation, very dynamic. It went from starting pretty small to growing to getting smaller again, and it's huge. It is a huge fire. I do want to mention, they said when it started in that field, they attacked it aggressively, and it did not work. And this all started from a lawnmower.
And these are trained firefighters that had come on scene. A lawnmower had apparently hit a rock, or we think started, there was a spark.
Some
kind of spark, and it caught the grass on fire, and the wind just blew it and took it off. And now we are dealing with a multiple agency fire that more than 100 firefighters are on scene trying to get their arms around that. We think they have gotten their arms around it at this point, but Salt Lake City public utilities vehicles have been destroyed. We've got 2 apartment complexes with 24 units
gone,
all destroyed. In fact, Spencer Joseph spoke with Taylor,
that's right,
who lost his home. That was just gut-wrenching.
Really, I mean, he said he saw orange light, and then he saw the smoke, and he just knew he had to get out. He grabbed the kids, he grabbed the dogs, and
the car keys, and they got out of there as fast as they could.
And then he saw his deck on fire, engulfed in flames, he said, once he was outside. And
And here's something interesting, too, because Spencer asked him about this, if he had a plan. He had a plan. And in fact, he did. But it happened so quickly, he was unable to even grab the emergency bag,
Right.
and to take that with him.
You know,
So-
and Mark Blaine spoke with another young woman, Haley, as well earlier, and she said there are things that I wanted to grab, but when you are actually in the situation, you don't really think that quickly.
Yeah, I mean, the adrenaline is pumping. And as we look through the pictures from the Fox 13 News viewers, thank you so much for sending these pictures in and helping us to cover this major fire. But you can see the black smoke, and it just kept reappearing and reappearing because of the freshness of the fuels being burned.
Absolutely. Obviously, people seeing this from all over the valley, from different vantage points and viewpoints. And it has been bad.
Yeah.
It has been bad.
It really has. The fire started about 3 hours ago now, and we have seen from Ben's live shot and from Spencer's live shot. This is previously recorded video here, but from those live shots, you can see the charred area now that it is just, and the smoke rising up off of it, and it's just gut-wrenching and heartbreaking to see the amount of damage that has been done in just 3 short hours in the Salt Lake Valley.
It is surreal in a way. I mean, you do not see that type of fire every day anywhere, really.
No, you don't.
And it grew in such a short amount of time. It's very scary. It's very scary. And they've been watering it for so long. And the chief there said that they were trying to isolate it and keep it contained. And at this point, maybe, you know, like you said, they do have their arms around it, but man, did it spread very quickly, very quickly.
Dina, just remind us, what kind of winds are we expecting tonight?
So we'll just continue with the winds at about 15 to 20 miles per hour till about 7 p.m. And then they should start to settle after that. So hopefully it seems like they've got the bulk of the fire contained now, but the winds are definitely not in their favor for at least another 2 to 3 hours. And then they'll start to diminish as the sun gets a little bit lower.
We don't know how many people, it has to be hundreds of people who have been affected by this fire. Let's go back out to Fox 13 News report.
We will in a minute.
minute.
We're going to go back to Spencer in a minute, but here's video sent to us from Chris, and just yet one more viewer who is also experiencing this and seeing this. I'm wondering where Chris is, because the smoke is, he's very close.
Yeah, in fact, I mean, you got to think that he is nervous with this.
Chris
fire
was
just down the
evacuated,
hill.
so
Yeah.
someone said.
Oh, was he? Well,
Okay, well,
gratefully
good.
so.
Absolutely, yes.
Gratefully so. Yeah, we don't know where how many people have been evacuated. Many self-evacuated, but the Red Cross has set up an evacuation center for those folks who need a place to go on a day like this at 1250 East, 4500 South. That is the LDS Church there for the evacuees. Red Cross, of course, on scene, as they always are, coming to help out. Sometimes they don't get much response, but in a situation like this where we've got literally hundreds of people affected by this thing, 1250 East, 4500 South is where you need to go.
Just a little bit ago, we spoke with North Tooele Fire about the cause of this fire. And as you can see, it was caused by a lawnmower. And that's something that was novel to me. I mean, you don't hear about lawnmower fires every day, but you know, what John Smith was telling us is that it's more common than not. For those of you just tuning in, here's what he had to say.
A gentleman mowing his lawn. Correct. I couldn't tell you how it was, but that has been confirmed that it started with a lawnmower.
So excuse me, that was not John Smith with North Tooele Fire. That was Unified Fire when they were giving us the rundown of everything that had happened. But yes, you heard him say there that was the cause of the fire. Indeed, it started in that field and it just grew from there. And they did try to stop it there, but their attempts did not work.
Interesting that we juxtaposed that soundbite of the lawnmower starting the fire with the billowing black smoke, and that's how it grew. Now, Fox 13 News reporter Spencer Joseph has got somebody with you. Who is that, Spencer?
Yeah, this is Matt Stevens. He's with Red Cross. Go ahead and tell me what's the situation that we're looking at right now, and what are you doing?
Certainly. Well, I can't give you all details for the
Right.
situation. Simply put, we don't know. We know that there are a significant amount of people that are displaced right now, and our team is providing comfort and care to those that need it. They can come into the East Ridge Ward Church. We're very grateful to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints for opening this up and allowing us to have a temporary evacuation center here. People can come get food, water, and then potentially shelter if that's what this incident turns out to be.
Now, you work for the American Red Cross. You see things like this. One, why do you do what you do, and why do you feel that the American Red Cross's mission is so important, especially as we continue to see smoke billowing out of these apartment complexes?
Yeah, well, great question. I do what I do because I love people. I want to help, but more importantly, I'm working with volunteers every day that have these same desires that I do, and they go out and they really make this mission work. So I absolutely love what we do, and yeah, proud to be with the organization.
Put it into perspective a little bit as we look back here. And, earlier we were seeing smoke billowing out of these apartments, and you could see now the outline of those shades. Kind of put it in perspective for me. This kind of disaster, how does this affect people's lives?
Well, it's devastating. I mean, nobody ever wakes up in the morning and thinks, well, I'm going to go through a house or apartment fire today. So, just the volunteers that are on our team, they have that experience of helping people at ground zero, really, with those next steps, how to get IDs, how to get food, shelter, clothing, all those things. And we have resources in place, and we get to help people with that. So it's an awesome thing.
How many people have you seen? I mean, I've seen so many people taking water from you guys and coming through, getting food. That's kind of the thing you're initially providing, right? Kind of talk me through those phases of you go from, those immediate needs, get people shelter and water, to then how do you get to the point where you're talking about IDs, birth certificates, that kind of stuff?
Certainly. Well, our priority, food and shelter at the very beginning. And it's going to take a little bit of time, but once we get a full damage assessment, then we're going to sit down with people individually. We're going to distribute financial assistance to those that qualify. And we're really going to dig deep into what are the next steps of recovery and how can Red Cross help. We have a team of caseworkers that's the equivalency of a social worker. They're very experienced. They know not only the resources that Red Cross can provide, but all the partner organizations, the nonprofits throughout the area. And so we're fully prepared and ready to get folks equipped with the resources that they need on the road to recovery.
Now, let me ask you just as kind of a final question. Have you ever seen anything quite like this?
This is a wild one. It really is. I mean, as you can see right now, there's a lot of smoke in the background, and we're really not quite sure what we're dealing with right now. So I think everything is unique. This one, of course, our hearts and thoughts are with those that are affected, and we're ready to help when we know more.
Matt Stevens, American Red Cross. Again, Bob, Rob, we're going to continue to stay out here, bring you the latest information from Unseen, from first responders, as well as those people whose lives has been affected. But for now, back to you.
Yeah, we can't say enough good about the Red Cross and all that they do to support folks in situations like this. So often, we watch the first responders show up on scene, but the second responders is always the Red Cross.
Absolutely.
And we can't thank them enough for being in a position to help in this case, a large number of people who have been displaced.
It has upended their lives for sure.
Yeah.
Home is where everything is.
Yeah.
And a lot of people have lost a lot today, but they are there to provide, at least for now, food, shelter, and water. And then there will be conversation about possible financial assistance for many of the people who have been affected.
We're looking at the power lines and a firefighter up on top. And is that a live shot, by the way, Nicole? Is that a live picture? Is it? Yeah,
it is.
This
Wow.
is a live shot of them spraying the water. But in the foreground and slightly out of focus are the power lines. And one of the important things in a fire of this size is to make sure that that people are able to avoid any other problems. And so the Rocky Mountain Power will come in and shut off the power in these areas, which of course creates other issues, but at least they're able to take care of that.
Absolutely. We're going to go back out to Ben Winslow. He has public utilities there with him. Ben, we were talking about them earlier. What's the update?
Yeah, I'm joined by Salt Lake City Public Utilities Deputy Director Jason Brown. I want to ask you a few questions. I understand that your lot or your property, or at least the city's property, is impacted by this. What do you know of how this fire started, and what is all happening with your property here?
This is definitely our property, and I do not know what has started the fire yet. We're still doing an investigation to understand that.
Did it originate on Salt Lake City Public Utilities property?
It does appear that way, yes.
Unified Fire told us it was someone maybe working with a lawnmower. Was there work going on at the time to maybe, I don't know, deal with grass or something like that?
That's what I've understood too, or been told. I have not been able to confirm that, or talk to the crews this afternoon that were out here.
In terms of the what property has been lost, what do you know of what's been lost?
There's, other than the 2 apartment complexes, there's no other structures that have been lost. A lot of underbrush and some of the cottonwoods that were down here.
Can you describe what is this property used for? What does Salt Lake City Public Utilities have here?
There's actually artesian wells, wells that just come to the surface in this area. So we collect them and put them into our distribution system. This is also where our maintenance and canal systems operate out of. So a lot of our canals are south of here, so it makes sense to have a yard down here to work on.
Anybody injured that you know of, or anybody hurt?
I have not heard of any injuries at all.
At this point, can you tell me, do you know, you probably spent some time here, do you know what it is that is burning over there?
Those are the apartment complexes that are adjacent to our property.
Gotcha. And so obviously, what else is, besides brush on the Salt Lake City Public Utilities land, is there anything else that was damaged or destroyed?
Not that I can see when I walked down and did the tour of the site. We do have some water down there that we're keeping the equipment cool. So it seems like things on our side are okay, but it's terrible, this impact that it's had outside.
But at this point, if Unified Fire is saying someone had been using a lawnmower on this property, is that something you guys regularly do, or and what do you use it for?
Yeah, so we operate, that's part of our maintenance, to make sure that there are no clumps of combustibles around. So we were out there, it sounds like that we were out there cleaning that up just to prevent accumulation of the combustible materials.
So it's possible that what you were trying to prevent sparked the fire.
It's possible, but unknown at this point.
In terms of, has this impacted the water supply? Salt Lake City Public Utilities provides an awful lot of water to the Salt Lake Valley. Is this something that will hinder or affect people's drinking water supply?
This will not impact the drinking water at all. No.
All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate your time. All right. And we're going to send it back to you.
All right, Ben, thank you so much. And Jason Brown with Salt Lake City Public Utilities. Interesting that an artesian well is on that property, and that the water from that well gets put into the water system. But he just said, as Ben pointed out, that it's not going to affect our drinking water. No.
Which is good news.
Yeah.
But what we do know is that it seems to have originated on public utilities property.
Yeah. And if indeed it was a lawnmower, and Unified Fire is saying that, and now that Jason Brown with Public Utilities is acknowledging that, and as Ben was pointing out, the irony of mowing the grass to keep it from becoming fuel for a fire and sparking a fire in the process of doing that. So how unfortunate.
How unfortunate. But again, something that's not uncommon, these lawnmower fires, as we did talk to North Tooele Fire just a little bit ago, and they said, you know, between using the gas for a lawnmower, if you've got a gas powered one, obviously gas not good when you're in dry conditions, or if you've got an electric one, lithium batteries, also not great for conditions like the ones we have right now. So pretty precarious situation out there, which started this all.
Yeah. Now, the Fox 13 news crews in the field have been talking with witnesses and people evacuated since the fire broke out. Spencer Joseph spoke with a man named Taylor, who we have been referring to, who says the magna earthquake prepared him, but not every plan works out.
The fire was so quick, I couldn't grab the emergency bags. So after that, plan B is everyone gets out. Everyone stays alive.
Yeah. Remarkable. And he indeed went on to lose his home.
He did. But again, we're just grateful everyone's okay. He got the dogs, he got the kids.
His wife, and yes, yeah, they all got out. He was in the middle of a business call, by the way, in his apartment. He works from home. when he noticed the orange flames out the window, and he ended that business call
Mhm.
real quickly.
He
And
said, "Guys, I've got to go."
yeah,
And that he did.
Said, "Honey, we got to get out of here."
Mhm.
And he grabbed the car keys. He got the dogs. He got the kids. He got the wife, and out the door they went. And now the Red Cross is going to step in and help Taylor.
That's right. At least shelter and food for now, and maybe some financial assistance down the road.
Yeah. The fire started, we're well over 3 hours ago now, and it is smoldering as we have been watching. And it's almost ironic to have this idyllic, beautiful backdrop of the Tooele Valley and how beautiful that is every day, and then have to juxtapose it with the charred remains of all that property in Mill Creek that has burned, and the 2 apartment complexes and the 24 units and the hundreds of people's lives who have been upended today.
Absolutely huge loss. And you know what I keep thinking about over the last week, we've talked about fireworks and telling people to really be careful.
Yeah.
Because of the conditions we have, it's just been very touch and go. And this, obviously, that was not the cause of this fire, something more simple.
Yeah, and something ironic
Yeah.
too, because all he was trying to do was reduce the fuels to that would have caught fire in a situation like this. Okay, well, we have been on the air nonstop now for the last 3 hours almost. We're going to take a break right now, kind of regroup, and we'll be back with more of our coverage of this major fire right here on Fox 13 News.
Boy, we have just had an active afternoon and getting some of these viewer photos into the smoke earlier with this Mill Creek fire. Wow, hazardous stuff. And we still have really gusty winds in the Holiday area between 15 and 20 miles per hour. And those wind gusts will stay that way through about sunset tonight or a little bit before. Should start to calm down at around 7 o'clock or so. So 17 mile per hour wind gusts here in Salt Lake City. And the humidity we've been talking about is a tinderbox just about everywhere, even in the urban area. So unfortunately, as we're seeing wildfire today, it was in an urban location affecting homes and apartment complexes there. 7% humidity. So pretty serious dry conditions. We have not seen much rain in several weeks. Salt Lake City in the month of July here has had less than 2/10 of an inch. So particularly dry. Wind gusts going forward the next couple of hours. You can see as it gets to sundown, it settles down and then comes up again in the afternoon, which means that fire conditions again on Saturday are still at a high fire danger for everybody. Now, the National Weather Service has issued that red flag warning, and that's for much of the state. But places that aren't under the warning, it's almost like this false sense of safety because you think, oh, well, we're not under a warning. It doesn't matter. It's dry everywhere. It's going to be breezy everywhere, and the fire conditions are ripe. So including the Wasatch Range, where, of course, a lot of our vegetation is here in our mountainous locations, all the way up to the Naomi Wilderness here by Bear Lake and the Tony Grove area. If you're doing some camping this weekend, just know that the fire danger is really high. It's going to be breezy and dry everywhere with wind gusts of 20 to 30 miles per hour, especially in the afternoons. That's when the wind will really get going. So temperatures right now, it's hot. It's dry. We don't have any precipitation in the forecast until about the middle part of next week. So until then, not a lot doing. It's just going to be a clear night. And again, the wind should start to diminish about 7, 8 o'clock. The other issue we're going to contend with throughout the weekend, especially in southern and southeastern Utah, but we're still going to see it here in northern Utah too, is the smoke. There are two very large wildfires. We still have wildfires in our state, but over in Arizona, and the North Rim fire is still going in the White Sage fire. So with that, we'll see enhancements of smoke, especially through south central Utah and southeastern Utah. So you'll have a smoky weekend. And here in northern Utah, we'll have that general hazy weather over the area. We've had some cloud cover now built in the past couple of hours because we've got an area of low pressure a little bit off to the south of west. And that's been giving us some of these high clouds that we're seeing. But overall, it's still going to just be a mostly clear and hazy night. Temperature is very warm outside, 94 degrees here in Salt Lake, and it's 88 degrees in Price. Next 2 hours, hot and dry and still breezy as they get the fire under control there in the Mill Creek area. Smoke and dust definitely in the works. So overnight, we'll have lows around 70 degrees here, just about statewide. A few lucky locations here in northeastern Nevada, cooling off really nicely with the clear skies there, down in the 40s and 50s. Boy, what a difference. So depending on where you are, our overnight lows. Now tomorrow, pretty warm all around, and it looks like it is going to be dry, smoky, and hazy. Another hot July day as we wrap up a very dry month. Temperatures around 100 degrees in southern Utah for much of the weekend. Upper 90s tomorrow. Chance for showers on Wednesday and Thursday. And for the Wasatch Dam, we've got temperatures in the 90s with breezy conditions all weekend and dry weather. And then we've got a chance for some storms with some monsoonal moisture on Wednesday and Thursday. But boy, we really could use some rain just about everywhere, and it doesn't look like it's all going to be that widespread, but there's that chance for some showers. But tonight, we just really want those winds to start to settle down so they can get a handle on that fire, and it looks like the wind conditions will improve in about 2 hours from now. It should start to calm down a bit. Robin.
All right, Dina,
Thank you, Dina.
thank you so much. Well, if you're just joining us at 7 minutes before the hour, there has been a major fire in Mill Creek that has destroyed 2 apartment buildings, 24 units in total, and affected a lot of people in that area today.
That's right. We've spoken with a few people who have been affected who actually got out, but man, they have been watering this fire for more than 3 hours now, and it's given them a difficult time. That is for certain. Crews in the field have been speaking to witnesses and people evacuated since the fire broke out. A woman our Mark Blaine spoke to says her pet survived, but she don't think others did.
Yeah, it's super upsetting. I wish that there was a better protocol for fires and people's pets. I wish that when there's a fire, they don't go knock on the doors. I wish they would go open the doors, open the doors, let the cats out, do something.
It is heartbreaking for people whose lives have been upended. Also on scene out there is Fox 13 News reporter Spencer Joseph. He was our first reporter on scene.
That's right.
And Spencer, you've done a great job of keeping us informed, first behind the camera and now in front of the camera. What have you got for us at this point?
Bob, thank you. Yes, we're obviously a very dynamic scene. We just ran into Tyler. Now, Tyler, you were just telling me, unfortunately, that you live in one of the apartments that is now gone. Tell me, what are you feeling right now?
I'm pretty devastated. All my family stuff is gone. Lost everything. I got my dog and my girls, but all of our belongings are gone.
So tell me the moments leading up to where you saw it? Did you see the flames or smell the smoke? What alerted you when you first saw this?
I was driving home and I was going to the bank and I saw the smoke and didn't pay much attention to it. And then I was in the bank and I have a dog. I have a camera on his crate and the notification was sending me notifications. Beagle, I didn't pay much mind to it. He's a loud dog. But I just looked out the window at the bank and I could just see the smoke from here. And I just checked the camera and I heard the fire alarm for the camera. Then I just left the bank. I had to go because they had this all blocked off. I had to go around the whole block and I was zooming and I pulled in. They had that blocked off. I went through. They wouldn't let me in. I got all the way to the curb of my apartment. Everything was on fire. And I just ran in and grabbed the dog. Firefighter wouldn't let me in. I just ran in. Had to get him out.
And so you got your dog out. So that camera, I mean, had you not had that, would have not alerted you. I mean,
he would have died. My dog would have died.
So that is so incredibly fortunate that you looked at that camera at that moment and bravely ran into the flames here. I mean, do you feel, you obviously are very emotional. You've lost a lot of things today, but everything that's important that can't be replaced, it sounds like you got, right?
Everything I can buy.
Yeah.
That's what I'm grateful about, but it just sucks.
I know. So you're here at the Red Cross shelter. They've given you food and water, I'm guessing.
Mm-hmm.
And so, they're going to start to provide you assistance and all of that. You're talking, so you're one of the 24. Talk to me about, did you see anybody else coming out, any of your neighbors, any of those individuals? What were you kind of seeing as you were running in there?
When I was pulling into the complex, everybody had animals and people, and they were just running out to come here. But everybody was scared, freaking out. I just drove past them.
A lot of times we talk about have a plan in this moment. Obviously, when there's a disaster like this, when there's something that happens this quickly, you don't really have a plan. But had you thought about this before? And did that kind of kick in? Did that adrenaline kick in that moment where you just acted, you didn't think about it?
I just had to get the dog out. That was my first warning, was just get the dog out. I knew my daughter and my wife were safe. I just had to get the dog. That's what I had to do. Yeah, we're all safe.
We're so incredibly thankful you are safe.
The city needs I walk my dog every day. Behind there, it was kindling. It was just logs. It was just dead wood. The city could have done something without a doubt.
Well, let's talk about that because we could see it right here. So you're saying that this is how it normally is. This is,
it's dead trees, all the knocked over trees. I walk my dog. I take the trash out right over there. It's nothing but dead trees. It's kindling.
Yeah.
The city should have done something a long, long time ago.
And I don't know if you know this yet. We've been reporting it for about an hour now, but this was sparked by a lawnmower. Somebody in the field out here, and the lawnmower sparked this and led to that. What's your reaction on that?
Frustrating.
Yeah.
Because if I had a lawnmower, if I had a spark go off, I would have stepped on it and put it out. But the city should have done something to begin with. And I lost a home. My family lost a home because of it. My dog could have died. It's frustrating, but I'm grateful we got out, and I'm happy that we're safe.
As are we. We're thankful you're safe. We're thankful your family is safe. Your dog is safe thanks to your valiant efforts. We appreciate you talking to us. I know how tough this is in this moment. And you and many others, unfortunately, are feeling the same way today as we've been reporting. So thank you, sir. We appreciate you talking to us. Bob, Robin, I'm going to go ahead and give it back to you as we reach the top of the hour.
I tell you what, and thank you, Spencer. Thank you, Tyler, for talking to us. He really does put the human face on the tragedy and why
100%.
So much effort is gone to by fire officials and others to try to prepare us for this and to avoid it so that this kind of tragedy doesn't happen.
Absolutely. And I mean, I know Tyler can't hear me, but things can be replaced. Tyler, we cannot replace you. We can't replace Haley, who Mark talked to earlier. We can't replace any of you folks who made it out. So obviously Taylor, a tragic. Yes, Taylor.
Taylor and Haley and Tyler and and their loved ones who were there for all of this. Oh, how grateful we are. Now, again, as we are expressing gratitude that they are safe, we still don't know whether everybody got out.
Right.
And that's something that authorities are
That
still
has
trying to
not
confirm.
been confirmed yet. I mean, even 2 hours ago when we were being briefed on what happened, they had not confirmed it, and we have not heard anything since. So, I mean, prayerfully and hopefully, yes, everyone is okay. Obviously, the Red Cross there to help folks pick up the pieces and provide food, shelter, water for the people affected. But it's going to take a lot of rebuilding in a lot of ways for a lot of people.
Yeah, it most certainly is. And of course, the investigators now are going to go to work as they, we keep looking at the same video of the fire, you know, at one of its apexes. But the situation now is such that this whole area is just smoldering for the most part. Dina was telling us that winds are going to be, what, 15 to 20 miles an hour tonight again, Dina? Is that right?
Yeah, definitely. And through about 7 o'clock. So about 2 more hours of pretty breezy conditions can be expected. And just hearing those personal stories, it's very sad. And, you know, we haven't heard about injuries just yet, if there are any. And I'm hoping that there's not, but that these people could get their animals out and their families. It makes you really think about the false safety we have of living in the city.
Yeah.
But there still could be fires. And like Tyler there was just saying that we interviewed, his apartment was next to a field that was like a tinderbox, you know, a dry vegetation nearby. And many of us live here along places like that. This could happen almost anywhere.
Yeah, and the grand irony of Jason Brown with Salt Lake City Public Utilities telling us that the lawn mowing going on was to knock down the fuels,
right?
So a fire like this would not happen. So,
Well, we thank you for joining us for what was the news at 4 and has been the news since about 1:45 actually. But we'll be right back with the news at 5.
good afternoon, everyone. I'm Bob Evans.
And I'm Robin Oginye. We begin tonight with breaking news out of Mill Creek. At least 24 apartments have been destroyed and many displaced after a large fire. Unified Fire Authority tells us that it was started by a man who was mowing his yard this afternoon.
We have team coverage for you this afternoon. Fox 13 News reporter Spencer Joseph is live at the scene. He is going to tell us what you have been hearing. Spencer.
Yeah, Bob, at this hour, you know, there are just a lot of people coming home to find their homes were engulfed in flames. They've lost a lot of belongings. We're here not only just a little bit away from that apartment complex, but right next to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints ward that has been somewhat converted and opened up into a Red Cross shelter. A lot of individuals whose homes have now been destroyed are staying here. Now, we want to kind of pan a little bit to the right, where you could see this is a big open field where a lot of vegetation was. Majority of the flames when we got on scene were coming from this area and from the area of the carport heading towards the apartment complex. Now, as you zoom in on that apartment complex, you can see that fire crews are still hitting it with everything they have. As the smoke still lingers heavy in the air, Bob and Robin, it's, you know, it is a solemn sight to see the blackened building there that we now know is 24 homes, 24 people's lives. In fact, probably many more than that people's lives. As we've been talking to people, their first thought was getting their pets out. The first thought was getting their families out. A lot of them had a plan, but in an emergency scenario like this, you know, time it just seems to go by so quickly, and they just grab whatever they can, whatever they feel like they can in those moments. We also heard from Unified Fire Crews on scene, a lot of them saying this is unlike anything they've seen before, where a lawnmower sparks a small vegetation fire that grows to a large vegetation fire that then spreads to several buildings, destroying people's homes, just escalating and escalating through this, and resulting in a terrible, terrible situation. I believe we have some sound from individuals, and we want to let you listen in on some of those that we've interviewed here on scene. Take a listen.
The fire was so quick, I couldn't grab the emergency bags. So after that, plan B is everyone gets out. Everyone stays alive.
Yeah, everyone gets out. Everyone stays alive. You know, I've covered many things like this in my news career, but, you know, there's something to be said of just the tears and the heartfelt nature of these people coming home. There's nothing like it. And that raw emotion, it's heartbreaking. It is truly heartbreaking on this scene as these people are coming home to find their lives uprooted. But thankfully that we've heard so far, not only from fire crews, but from those individuals, that they were able to get everyone out safe. Again, we're still waiting for a final confirmation on that from fire crews. But at this point, at least from the individuals we've talked to on scene, that were able to get out, they were able to get their children out, their spouses out, their loved ones out, and their animals out at this point. So we're going to continue to ask those questions on scene. We are hoping to get an update soon. I've heard some things about first responders giving us an update here on this scene, but of course, you'll be the first ones to know when we get that. And of course, we'll take it on air and online. Bob, Robin, back to you.
Spencer, before we let you go, you have been, you were our first reporter on scene, and you have watched the evolution of this entire major fire this afternoon. Do you feel like, from what you are seeing, that we are on the back end now, and that we're in the mop-up stages, and this thing, they've got their arms around it now?
Bob, absolutely. And in fact, I would say for at least the last hour, it's felt like that, which is very, very good news on scene. I'll go ahead and step aside again. As you can see, actually, fire crews have taken down this hook and ladder, this very large fire engine right in the middle of this road, has been one of the primary ones that's been fighting this fire. Fire crews have just taken that down. They may be trying to reposition it, but again, this is the first time they've even had the ability to take it down. As you can now see that building for hours when I was here, Bob, you were kind of asking me at one point, what's beyond this carport? And even on scene, I couldn't make it out. And that's maybe 200 or 300 feet away from me. That's how thick this smoke was. Now, as that smoke has cleared, you could definitely see it. The flames are extinguished. The smoke's still lingering in the air, but heavy, as people are starting to piece together what they're going to do next, I think, is the biggest thing. And you could see fire crews and police officers still on scene, still now shaking hands and coordinating still efforts. This is still an active scene, of course it is, but Bob, to answer your question, I do think they have a very good handle on this now, where a few hours ago when I first got here, definitely did not.
It looks like it. A lot of work ahead for everyone involved. Spencer, thank you so much.
Yeah.
We're now going to head over to Fox 13 News reporter Ben Winslow, who was also live at the scene. Ben, tell us about the impacts of public utilities right now.
Yeah, behind me here, this is Salt Lake City Public Utilities land. You can see where, they're doing some mop up there. The firefighters are still trying to put out some hot spots. So this is from what Salt Lake City Public Utilities tells us is there's an artesian spring here, but this really isn't used for drinking water supply. As you know, Salt Lake City Public Utilities supplies a lot of water to a lot of the Salt Lake Valley. They are still looking into the cause. It is possible that it originated on their property here, which is used for equipment and things like that, and then of course spread to the apartments that you see over there in the distance there. Salt Lake City Public Utilities says that they certainly may have had someone working on property designed coincidentally enough to prevent fires such as this, where you heard Unified Fire Authority say they believe it was a lawnmower sparking that caused that. I spoke to the deputy director of Salt Lake City Public Utilities a short time ago. Let's play back a portion of what he had to say.
This is definitely our property, and I do not know what has started the fire yet. We're still doing an investigation to understand that.
Did it originate on Salt Lake City Public Utilities property?
It does appear that way, yes.
Unified Fire told us it was someone maybe working with a lawnmower. Was there work going on at the time to maybe, I don't know, deal with grass or something like that?
That's what I've understood too, or been told. I have not been able to confirm that, or talk to the crews this afternoon that were out here.
So again, a lot of this still under investigation at this point, and this is probably going to be under investigation for some time. From what we understand, from what we have been told by Salt Lake City Public Utilities, of course, no impacts to the drinking water supply. Back to you.
All right, Fox 13 News, Ben Winslow, thank you so much. Did you notice the good sign behind Ben?
Mm-hmm.
And that was the fire truck that was leaving the scene.
Yes.
That is
have not seen that in the last 3.5 hours.
We haven't. No, we haven't. That is good news. Well, Fox 13 News reporter Mark Blaine joins us now. And Mark, where are you and what are you seeing? Oh.
Excuse me, we will be going to Carolina Hassett, who is also on. What can you tell us?
Yeah, Robin, Bob, there is a lot of cleanup happening behind me. The main thing that I can see and I can smell is the smoke that's still in the air. I'm going to kind of step out of the way. You guys can kind of see what's going on behind me. This firefighter has been on this ladder spraying into the field for quite some time now. Now, we spoke to a resident who had already evacuated her home. She lived in the condos kind of nearby where the apartment happened. We spoke to her on Zoom. She said that she had heard the mower, and when she went out on her patio to look, she said the entire field was engulfed in flames. She chose to leave her house, but she currently does not know the status of the condos. How well, that's kind of what we've been hearing is the unknown. A lot of residents we spoke to don't 100% know what's going on, if their home's okay. There's a lot of unknown going on right now. And also the grass that I'm standing on, it's very dry. It's very hot out here. So not a good formula when it comes to a fire. Now, we'll have more on her story tonight, and we'll keep you updated both on air and online. For now, we're going to send it back to you.
All right, Fox 13 News reporter Carolina Hassett. Now let's get to Mark Blaine. Mark, where are you and what can you tell us?
Bob, we're in the parking lot outside the evacuation center. We'll take a look at the fire. As you guys were mentioning a few moments ago, it looks like they are definitely getting a handle on the fire. The smoke is dissipating some, and so that's good news. Now, throughout the course of the day, we've just heard a lot of heartbreaking stories. I was inside the evacuation center a short time ago, talking with residents of the apartment complex. Spoke to one woman who was in tears, and she was sharing how she was alerted to the fire. She was at work and received a text alert. And so obviously right away she got on the road to head over here. Unfortunately, she was not able to get to her apartment unit.
Yeah, at this point,
she was broken up and upset about the fact that she had two cats in her unit, and obviously those cats have been lost because her unit, she was telling us, was lost. One of the 24 units lost in the fire. The thing is, she said that Monday through Thursday, she works at home. It's only on Fridays where she goes into the office. And she told us she'll never be able to forgive herself. Just one of the many touching and heartbreaking stories here. Again, as you guys have been telling our viewers at this point, no known injuries. So that's good news, at least at this point. I'll send it back to the studio.
All right, Mark, thank you so much. And our heart goes out to that poor lady who lost her cats in this fire.
It's awful.
That's just
It's awful. Real life is what we're seeing in real time.
Before we go to break, I just want to say we've gotten a media advisory and a news release from Mill Creek City. Mayor Jeff Silvestrini and the Mill Creek City Council expressed their deep concern for the residents affected by this fire. Quote, "Our thoughts are with those who have been displaced by this tragedy. We are incredibly grateful for the swift response from Unified Fire Authority, Unified Police Department, and other mutual assistance from agencies from around the valley, Salt Lake County Emergency Management, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and the American Red Cross." And of course, they ask that you avoid the area for now while the emergency crews are still on scene wrapping things up.
That's right. They've got a lot of work ahead of them and they want everyone to stay safe. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Thanks so much for joining us. It is 5:19 on this Friday, where we have been taking a look at this fire that has been burning in Mill Creek since about 1:40 this afternoon. 2 complexes with 24 units are gone. as all of those families are looking for shelter tonight. They have somewhat contained the fire, but it has been a difficult one to attack for many different reasons, many things that contributed to the feeling of this fire.
Yeah, the wind being one of them, of course, and we'll get an update from Dina Friedman in just a few minutes as to a full weather forecast. But you are looking at a live picture of the smoldering of this fire. But here is the silver lining. Number one, we don't know of anybody who was hurt. We do know that one lady
Lost her cat.
lost her cats. But here's the other good thing, and you saw it just a second ago, and you were looking at it just now. Hello, Sterling, you're on the air. And that is the fire trucks. The fire trucks are now leaving the scene. The one that we started this segment on was just sitting idle. And then you saw another fire truck leaving the scene. Those are both really good signs
Yes.
After this devastating fire.
It's been a difficult one. It's going to be hard for a lot of people, and it has been very difficult for crews this afternoon.
That's right. We're going to continue to cover this major breaking news story, the fire in Mill Creek, but we do want to get to some other news of the day here on Fox 13 News at 5. A developing story in Millard County. An investigation is underway after 3 people, including one child, were found dead last night.
Fox 13 News reporter Chris Reed has been following this story in Flowell and joins us now with details.
Thursday night, 3 bodies were discovered at this location, and Millard County deputies are still trying to find out exactly what happened here. The home is in an unincorporated area about 5 miles west of I-15 in Fillmore, known as Flowell. Population around 100. This situation is uncommon for this farming village.
Honestly, this is a very good community. We've lived here for 3 years, us, my family. Instantly welcoming. We've never had any problems with any of the neighbors.
There are no neighbors for at least a mile of the house where deputies said the bodies of 3 people were discovered Thursday night. No one from the sheriff's office would go on camera. We were told many of them worked through the night at the site. We just know at 8:30 Thursday night, deputies got a call about bodies found at this location on North 3900 West. Upon arrival, they found 2 deceased adults and a child. They haven't been able to confirm their identities or ages. We don't know how they died or how long they've been deceased. The sheriff would only say that no other information is being provided pending autopsies and the continuing investigation. Residents are shocked by the news.
This is the first time we've ever heard anything in this area about, a family being found dead. I really hope and I pray for the family that's suffering in this tragic time. It's horrible.
From Flowell, Chris Reed, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Gosh, it has been an afternoon full of tough news.
Yeah, it
Very
really,
bad.
it really has. We cover so much breaking news in this business, and it just the human component of it. It's we're not immune to it.
No,
we sure are.
No, at very sad times, and the weather situation has just not been amenable to moisture, and it's not going to be that way. Here's our current look at the humidity out there now, and the relative humidity is really, really low. And obviously, most of us know that we haven't had any rain in quite some time, less than 0.2 of an inch this whole month. And so everywhere could go up in smoke, unfortunately, and that's what we saw this afternoon. So the relative humidity continues to be very low across the state, and our wind gusts this afternoon here in the Salt Lake Valley have generally been about 15 to 20 miles per hour, and we're seeing continued smoke out there from wildfires that are still in the central part of our state and also in northern Arizona. So we'll start to see more smoke continue tonight and into tomorrow, especially south central, southeastern, and eastern Utah. So places like Vernal, all the way into Carbon County, Price, Moab, into Canyonlands, you're going to see quite a bit of smoke in your forecast. And then the rest of us, just some light layers of haze here in northern Utah as our flow is out of the south and west. The wind gusts for tonight, as we've been seeing the fires there, or the fire around the Mill Creek area, the firefighters get a handle on that. Our wind gusts have been between 15 and 20. Those should start to calm down by about 7 o'clock tonight. And then tomorrow afternoon, we do it again. So we'll still have breezy conditions all across the state tomorrow. So Monroe fire, we haven't really talked about this much today because we've been so focused on that Mill Creek fire, but it is still huge and not contained yet. So Monroe Canyon, really large fire, unfortunately there. Gorgeous part of the state and some beautiful land, and that is still ablaze, and we'll still see smoke from that here all the way across central Utah and going into the north. So wildfire smoke, that's still going to be out there tonight. Very warm tonight. Overnight lows only around 70 degrees. Breezy conditions here for the Saturday and Sunday forecast. There is a chance for rain. Doesn't look great, but it does look like there's some monsoonal moisture chances at about Wednesday, Thursday in the forecast. So we've got a little bit of that to look forward to. It's pretty warm out there now. Temperature about 94 degrees and clear skies and just breezy. Our air quality has been in that yellow category for the afternoon, and it'll stay there for much of the weekend as well. Here's that visible picture. Not a lot of cloud cover tonight, to this afternoon and tonight. So just a few high clouds around. We've got one area of low pressure off to our south and west, and that'll give us some additional cloud cover and a breeze. It's just really warm. 85 degrees here, even in Park City. That's very warm up high. 95 in St. George. Warm conditions all around. Today's high temperature was actually a little bit cooler than this. So we'll get that fixed for you. It's about 93 degrees was our high temperature for today. Our upper level flow. Watch this. There's an area of low pressure. And normally those things look kind of promising, but all this is really going to do is give us more wind and wind out of the south and west, which is really warm. So that's going to keep being warm and pretty dry. Other than a little bit of additional cloud cover over the weekend, we're not going to notice it much. So overnight, pretty mild tonight, 70 degrees and clear skies. And for tomorrow, around 95, we'll have the hazy conditions out there, up to 97 in St. George and 91 in Provo. So warm weather continues here in southern Utah. Your chances for moisture moving in on Wednesday, Thursday, so not too bad there. But everybody around 100 degrees in southern Utah for the next few days with hazy conditions. Breeze and some haze, a few clouds here and there for the next chances for rain on Wednesday and Thursday. So warm and mostly dry weather does continue. We'll be right back.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to Fox 13 News at 5. I'm Bob Evans.
And I'm Robin O'Guinier. We begin this half hour with breaking news out of Mill Creek. At least 24 apartments have been destroyed and many displaced after a large fire. Unified Fire Authority tell us that it was started by a man who was mowing his yard this afternoon.
We do have live team coverage for you this afternoon. Fox 13 News reporter Spencer Joseph is live at the scene. And Spencer, let's start with you. What have you learned since last we spoke?
Bob, yeah, at this point, crews are just mopping up the scene. I did run into Alexis. Now, Alexis, you are not one of those whose apartments was damaged in this fire, but you live directly adjacent to it. So tell me, kind of, how did you get out very quickly? What was the first signs that you saw of the smoke and the fire? And how quickly did you get out?
I got out pretty quickly. The police were there, and so they were knocking on doors and telling everyone to get out. So I just grabbed my phone and got out as quickly as I could. As soon as I got out, just smoke everywhere. At that point, it really quickly spread to one of the buildings, and then the wind picked up and it spread to the other building. They were just all like huge flames, so it was pretty scary.
And you were telling me right before this, this very easily, had fire crews not stopped it, jumped to your apartment as well.
Yeah.
Was that going through your mind at that moment, or was it just adrenaline, get out as fast as I can, grab everything I need to?
No, I wasn't even thinking about grabbing things, honestly. I grabbed my phone and that was it. And I was just watching the flames, just hoping that it wouldn't spread to our building. Yeah, I could see in the windows just like huge flames going on. I know one of the ladies in that building, she lost 2 cats.
Yeah.
Because she wasn't home. And just families just lost their homes today, so it's really sad.
So, you are kind of an interesting perspective that we don't have yet, and that is somebody that is waiting to go back in and see, what the just lay of the land is. We know you're not one of those whose home is destroyed, but have you any timeline of when you're going to be able to go back in and get any of your belongings?
They said it could be 6 hours on a good note, but probably a lot longer than that. They still have the power, the gas, everything is cut off. So even if I was able to go home, I'd be sitting in the dark right now. So they should be letting us know within the next hour or two, kind of what's going on, what the timeline looks like. So.
And just out of curiosity, we've been kind of asking everyone this. Everybody always says, have a plan in a situation like this. Did you have a plan, and did that kind of kick in, or you just went?
No, I wish I would have grabbed a few more things, honestly. I wasn't really thinking. They were just saying, get out, evacuate, there's a fire. So I didn't know if it was our building, what was going on. So it was very just adrenaline, like, oh my gosh, okay, get out of the building, like it's on fire. So it was really scary. I definitely should have more of an evacuation plan and like meetup point, because once we got outside, all of us are kind of spreading around, trying to get a look at the fire, like what's happening. So we kind of lost each other for a minute there. And then me and my parents walked over here. They made everybody
come this way for the evacuation center. Well, Alexis, thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate it. We're going to continue to stay out here again. Crews still mopping up at this hour. The smoke is still lingering in the air, but still a lot better scenario than we had a couple of hours ago. For now, I'm going to toss it back to you in studio.
All right, Spencer, thanks so much.
We're now going to turn to Ben Winslow, who's also been on scene for several hours. He is on the land owned by Public Utilities, the start of the fire. Ben, what can you tell us now? A clearer scene behind you right now.
Yeah, that's right. This looks remarkably different from what it was like when I first arrived here. In fact, let me just step out of the way, and you can see over there, behind that fence there, that is land that is owned by Salt Lake City Public Utilities. It's a equipment yard. There's an artesian spring there. It is entirely possible, and that is what they are looking at, and in fact, the investigation is underway into whether this originated there. There may have been someone who was doing some work with a lawnmower, obviously, to mitigate dry grass and brush. trying to prevent fires, and it is entirely possible that that is where it could have sparked. Again, that is under investigation. A little while ago, I spoke with the Deputy Director of Salt Lake City Public Utilities. Let's play back a little of what he had to say.
Seems like things on our side are okay, but it's terrible, this impact that it's had outside.
But at this point, if Unified Fire is saying someone had been using a lawnmower on this property, is that something you guys regularly do, or and what do you use it for?
Yeah, so we operate, that's part of our maintenance, to make sure that there are no clumps of combustibles around. So we were out there, it sounds like that we were out there cleaning that up just to prevent accumulation of the combustible materials.
So it's possible that what you were trying to prevent sparked the fire.
It's possible, but unknown at this point.
And again, that remains under investigation at this point. And worth noting that the Salt Lake City Public Utilities supplies drinking water to a large part of the Salt Lake Valley, beyond Salt Lake City's borders itself. This is an artesian spring. We've been told that that was turned off immediately once this fire started. And we have been told that there has been no impacts to the drinking water supply. But again, the cause of this, and potentially if it originated here on Salt Lake City Public Utilities' equipment yard here, that remains under investigation. Back to you,
Ben. Thank you so much.
Fox 13 News. I'm sorry, were you going to say something?
No, I was going to say what you were probably about to say.
Okay, let's go out to Fox 13 News reporter Carolina Hassett, who is also out on scene. Carolina, tell us where you are in relationship to the fire and what you have been learning from that position.
Yeah, Bob. So we are actually at the corner of 1300 East and Kings Road Drive. This is not too far from where Ben was, but this is kind of more of where the crews are actively cleaning up. The apartments are about that way behind us. We couldn't get too close over there, but yeah, they're still actively cleaning up. A lot of that heavy smoke has been clearing out since. Now, we did speak to a resident. She lives in the condos nearby where the apartments caught fire, and she had evacuated her home. She's not on the scene. She is pretty far away from here, but we spoke to her on Zoom, and here's what she had to say when she discovered what was happening.
I heard the big mower in the back. They were trying to take care of the thistles that had dried, and they were thistles out in that field. And they meaning Salt Lake City Public Works, and they were trying to mow them down, and I heard them going over the rocks with the big tractor with the metal blades. And so I moved my patio cushions in because it was all dusty, and the next thing I looked out, and the field was in flames.
Now, she is currently whether or not her condo got damaged at all. A lot of the residents we spoke to out here just say it's unknown right now. Not a lot of people know if their belongings are okay, if their homes are okay, and that's kind of what we're waiting for as well. It is very hot out here. The grass I'm standing on is very dry. We actually saw a neighbor over here spraying down her trees and her foliage around her home because that's just how dry it is out here. We're going to continue to keep you updated both on air and online. For now, we're going to send it back to you guys.
Carolina, thank you so much.
Now, just to recap, this fire started, 4 hours ago now, just after 1:40 this afternoon. And as Carolina just described to us, and we heard in that soundbite.
Very telling.
Yeah, the lawnmower that was cutting down the thistles in that field on the Salt Lake Public Utilities property sparked, hit some rocks. The lady said she heard it, and then the next thing she knew, that field was on fire. Yeah.
Well, they were mowing in an effort to maintain the ground so something like this wouldn't happen. But here we are. 2 complexes destroyed, 24 units gone, many people picking up the pieces tonight with the help of the Red Cross. A long road ahead for many people.
Yeah, gratefully, nobody was hurt in this fire. We did lose at least two animals, two cats. And we don't know about the rest, but we're still waiting on an official confirmation from authorities as to everybody getting out of that apartment complex. But as it stands right now, We don't know of anybody getting hurt, and we believe everybody got out.
That's right.
We're going to continue to follow this breaking news throughout the rest of this newscast and bring you the latest on air and online at fox13now.com.
We'll be right back. Like to interrupt people. We're learning more about an incident that caused a ride at Lagoon to be evacuated earlier today. Park spokesperson Adam Leishman says a man was on the Sky ride when he needed to be taken off. It's not clear why he needed to exit the ride, but operators were able to quickly stop the ride and evacuate guests. Leishman says the park's focus on safety was crucial in getting the man the help he needed.
We're an amusement park. We're in the business of fun, but the bottom line is safety is our top priority. Every decision we make is based on the safety and well-being of our guests. Evacuation for ride is, while it's not ideal, this is something that we plan for to keep our guests safe.
Leishman also praised the park staff and first responders for their quick response. We don't know the man's condition.
In national news, the White House is addressing an issue that impacts many people across the country. Data released last year by the Office of Homeless Services indicates the annual point-in-time count found about 3,700 people experiencing homelessness on one night in January, a 5% increase compared to the year before. Many of the state's emergency shelters are at capacity year-round. The president signed a new executive order to address homelessness, but there's already a lot of pushback. The order will make it easier for states and cities to put mentally ill people who are homeless into institutions. It will also prioritize federal funding for cities and states cracking down on open drug use, urban camping, loitering, and squatting. The order from the Trump administration comes a year after the U.S. Supreme Court ruled cities can ban homeless individuals from sleeping outside. The justices said making that illegal would not violate the Eighth Amendment, which prohibits cruel and unusual punishment.
when a problem gets as big as it has ever gotten by the normal ways in which we measure that, and a new administration comes in, you get to change the reigning policy.
Last year, more than 770,000 people experienced homelessness in the United States, the most on record. And here in Utah, that number is sitting at about 9,800, according to the point-in-time counts from 2024. Governor Spencer Cox responded to the president's executive order saying, "We're glad to see the White House take a common sense approach to homelessness. Real compassion means helping people get the treatment and care they need, not just offering housing without support. Utah has been pushing for this shift, and it's good to see it taking shape across the country." We'll be right back. Okay, so I'll keep it under about 4 minutes, right? 4 or 5 minutes. Oh, well, never mind. Never mind.
I kind of want to see it. I don't know.